Okay, everybody, here we are. Alabama versus Texas A&M weekend. It's gonna get down to this number one versus a number six matchup. A lot of people have a lot of big hopes in this game. Today is just my preview video. I'm really not gonna get into my prediction of it. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. But today I just want to kind of lay out the field and let you know what's going on with the team. So with Texas A&M, as it's been well documented already, they have Trevor Knight at quarterback, and as many of you college football fans know, he was the starting quarterback of Oklahoma back when they beat Alabama, which was forever ago. But somehow we just keep bringing that up, and that was a different team. But anyway, Trevor Knight is there. They have good receivers as usual, running their spread offense this year under Noel Mazon, but they're running the ball a lot more. They're a lot more run focused, and so in a similar way, they're similar to Auburn actually with how they try to run the ball out of the spread and get things going that way. So look for a different type of offense. The way they've been doing things this year. It's been interesting. They finally learned their lesson. You can't pass all day or eventually you tire yourself out and you lose, which is their problem for the last few years. Now, their defense, as usual, they're great at pass rushing. They're kind of smallish. They can fly around the field, but they're not great at stopping the run, as evidenced by they're giving up over 100 yards rushing per game. And I think I'm being a little bit modest. I think it's a bit higher, nearing 200, actually. Um, and it showed in their game against Arkansas. It showed against their game against Tennessee. Tennessee almost ran for 400 yards on them. So the run defense is not that great, but Myles Garrett and Deshaun Hall, those guys really get after the quarterback pretty well. Their cornerbacks are weak, but their safeties are good, as Gary Danielson from or CBS called them WWE. I think it's Williams, uh, was it Evans and Armani Watts? Yeah, so WWE. Armani Watts and Justin Evans in particular have been making a lot of plays this year. So their safeties and their defensive ends are pretty good on defense. Linebackers, not much going on there. Their cornerbacks aren't that great. Now, going with their offense, speaking of Trevor Knight, I'm going to come in and say he, when you stack up the numbers, he's completed 115 passes this year. He's attempted 215 passes. Now, when you add the numbers and you crunch them, which is basically dividing 115 by 215, Trevor Knight's completion percentage is barely almost 54%. It was really 53%, like 53.5, 53.8, something like that. He's barely completing over half of his passes, and the reason why is because he's inconsistent throwing the ball. Sometimes he'll put the ball right on the money down the field. Saw a play he did against Auburn. Saw a play Tennessee. He'll throw the ball down the field and he'll hit the receiver right where he needs to hit him. Perfect pass. Then at other times, he throws the ball to the ground, ball flies over the receiver's head, etc. Basically, inconsistent passer, kind of a gunslinger almost. And that was one of the reasons why he had to leave Oklahoma because he wasn't consistent while Baker Mayfield was. So, with that being said, the reason why I think he has those issues because of his mechanics. Uh, but when he is on, he is on. And so that'll be interesting to see their running game. Keith Ford and Travion Martin, they've been running pretty well. Uh, I when I see them, I can see the difference from how they played in previous years and being able to run the ball and the offensive line being able to establish what they're doing. So that's been interesting to see. Now they're going to have to do that against Alabama, which has the best run defense in the nation. So that matchup, best run defense versus a pretty good run offense, um, and a quarterback who can complete some deep passes. It'd be interesting, and who can run. So let me not discount that. He also can take off and run with the ball. Now on Alabama's side of the ball, I know them better because that's my team. But we got Jalen Hurts, true freshman quarterback, who's completing 63 to 64% of his passes. By the way, a lot of that due to the fact that Lane Kiffin is keeping it safe and allowing him to throw a few short passes, well, mostly shorter passes that allow his receivers to get out in the field and make some plays. He'll take a shot once in a while, and he'll go for the intermediate passes as well and hit those, and that usually breaks the game. So Jalen Hurts for Alabama, it's a true dual threat. Faster, running the 4.65, had 3 rushing touchdowns last week against Tennessee. Also, we got Damian Harris, Bo Scarborough, Joshua Jacobs, B.J. Emmons, 4 running backs. We've gotten back to allowing most 4 running backs carry the ball throughout the game, and whoever is in the game, they're making plays, especially Damian Harris and Joshua Jacobs. I like watching those two. They are two best backs right now, with Bo Scarborough coming in third, B.J. Emmons being the fourth. Good running game. Receivers don't have to talk about them. We know who they are. Calvin Ridley, Darius Stewart, Derek Dieter, all these guys coming in making plays. Alabama's really trying to get the ball to Darius Stewart. He's electric with the ball, a great playmaker. Calvin Ridley is a great deep ball receiver. And he's an all-around receiver, really, but he's known for the deep ball a lot. And on defense, do we even have to say their names anymore? You got guys Ryan Anderson, Tim Williams, Jonathan Allen, Reuben Foster's coming in like a missile, attacking people. The pass rush is leading the nation in sacks right now, or at least the SEC, with 27 sacks. This is pretty good. And so Trevor Knight is going to have to deal with that pass rush. He's going to have to deal with guys like Tim Williams and Ryan Anderson coming in his way. That matchup of that offensive line, trying to hold back the Bama rush, trying to give Trevor Knight the time to throw the ball deep. That'll be interesting to watch. Also, Alabama's just ability to stop the run, like I mentioned before. And that's not even getting into the fact that Alabama's cornerbacks, arguably the best secondary in the nation. Got Minkah Fitzpatrick, Marlon Humphrey, Ronnie Harrison, Eddie Jackson on the back end. These guys are really tough. And when they're on, they're really on. Every once in a while, you might see them play undisciplined, like at times in that Ole Miss game, or a little bit in that Arkansas game. But for the most part, they do their job well, and they really go after the ball, which will be interesting to watch them battle the Texas A&M receivers. I'm loving to see Minkah Fitzpatrick on Speedy Noel in the slot. Got Marlon Humphrey on Josh Reynolds, or whoever's going to be on the outside. Going to be an interesting matchup. Eddie Jackson, too, covering in the deep part of the field, and Ronnie Harrison coming up for support sometimes. Getting into special teams, Eddie Jackson has been a monster on the punt return. J.K. Scott's always been a great punter. Alabama special teams, which doesn't get a lot of credit usually. The defense usually gets talked about. This year, people more and more have been talking about it, but the special teams can make and break a game here. And that's going to be interesting to watch out for. Whereas with the Texas A&M special teams is not as it's not that great. I would say they don't make game-winning plays, I guess. Anybody can at any given moment, but up until now, Texas A&M hasn't been that reliable on special teams. I think that kicker may have missed some already, and it'll be interesting. And with that, actually, Alabama's kicker, Adam Griffith, is on and off. But for the most part, when they need him, he comes through. So, thanks for paying attention. I'm going to give you all opportunity to, if you like to see what I think about it as I'm going through a game. Usually on my Twitter, I'm taking notes and like sending out tweets during the game. So I'm going to leave my handle in the description, and you can just follow along with the game with me as I'm noticing the things I notice and as I'm preparing my notes for the video. Thanks for paying attention, guys. See you tomorrow.